Hi everyone, my name's Miss Eliza and I am a nurse at Carl Emergency Room. And today I get to do a wrist watch presentation for you. Today we're going to focus on choking, strangulation, and suffocation. Now some of these things are kind of not fun to talk about, but we're going to talk about how to keep you safe, how to keep me safe, and how we can keep our loved ones safe too, okay? So first I want everybody to take a big deep breath. Doesn't that feel good? It's so nice, right? One more time. Let's do it one more time. Now, when we breathe, what are we giving our body? Do you guys know? We're giving our body oxygen. And we need oxygen for all sorts of things. I'll come back to that. We're going to talk about why we need oxygen in a couple minutes. Now let's talk about choking. So choking means that there's something inside that isn't letting any air in. So we can't get any air because there's something blocking inside our throat. Now strangulation means there's something outside that is keeping air from going in and out. So there's something outside that is keeping us from getting oxygen. What about suffocation? Suffocation means there's no air. There's just no air. Now let's talk a little bit more about suffocation. Who can tell me why we put bread in a bag? Or in plastic, actually. Plastic bags. There's a couple reasons why. So we put bread in plastic to keep germs out, right? We don't want other germs when it's sitting on the shelf at the store. We do it to keep critters out, right? We don't want other animals or other people that we don't know to mess with our bread. But most importantly, we put bread in plastic bags to keep air out, right? We don't want any air to touch that bread. Because what happens to bread when air touches it for too long? It gets bad, right? It gets stale, it gets kind of hard, it gets crusty, and it doesn't taste very good. So let's keep in mind that plastic bag that keeps air out, right? Keeps air out of our bread. What if somebody had a plastic bag and for some reason they put that plastic bag over their head? Are they going to get any oxygen? No, right? So there's not going to be any oxygen that can come in or out, right? So no oxygen. So the plastic doesn't let air in. What about other places besides a plastic bag that doesn't let any air in? There's no air. Well, what about a plastic tub? A plastic tub with a lid. So what if somebody got in a plastic tub and then we put the lid on and we locked it and they couldn't get out? Is there anywhere on this plastic tub that oxygen's going to go in? No. So there's no air inside of a plastic tub. What about the trunk of an old car? Old car. And somebody gets in that trunk and then we close the lid. Is there any areas in that trunk that will let air in? No. So it's really important that we don't get in places that we can't get out of. So when we talk about suffocation, we said it's really important not to put anything plastic over our heads, right? So I want you guys to repeat after me. Never ever put anything plastic over your head. And we also talked about different places that don't have any air. So we said tubs, trunks of cars. So repeat after me on this one, and then we'll talk about it. If you can't get out of it, Don't climb in. Okay. So if we can't get out of somewhere, we probably shouldn't get into it. Because what if the lid closes? Or what if we don't know what might happen? What if somebody accidentally closes that lid? And then we can't get out. So we have to be really careful to make sure that we can get out of places that we're going into. Now we said strangulation means that there's something outside that isn't letting air in. So there's something around somebody's neck that cuts off the air, so we're not getting oxygen. Now I've got a couple examples up here on the board of some things that can be around our neck, or somebody could accidentally put around their neck. Now, this cord, you and I wouldn't put that around our neck because we know that cords don't belong around our neck. They belong in outlets or in cupboards away from other people. But what about a baby or a little brother or sister? Do they know that's what that is? No. They just think it's a pretty color and it looks fun, right? Because babies are curious. So we need to make sure that we don't leave those things around down low or out in the open where babies can get them because they might wrap it around their neck. This middle picture here is a scarf. So we all like scarves, right? We wear them in the winter. They keep our neck nice and warm. But there's a good way and a bad way to wear scarves, right? So who can think of something that we shouldn't do when we wear a scarf? Do you think maybe, if we're at recess and we're playing tag, do you think we should have a scarf on? Probably not, because somebody might accidentally grab your scarf, right? And it might get tight around your neck, okay? What about this necklace? It's kind of a necklace. People put their badges on them, or they put their keys on them. Sometimes your teachers even wear them. And that's okay. We use those things to keep track of our stuff. But I bet your teacher wouldn't go running with that on, right? Because it might get twisted and turned around their neck. So what else? What else could get tied around our neck? Sometimes different necklaces, like pretty necklaces, can get tied around our necks. There's a whole lot of different things that we need to be careful that we don't put around our neck because they might accidentally get tight. So I want you guys to repeat after me again. Never ever wrap anything around your neck. Okay, good job, guys. Now let's talk about choking. Now there's a lot of different things that people can choke on. And choking doesn't just happen to babies. It can happen to me, it can happen to you, it can happen to your teachers. And that's why we all have to be very careful. So let's talk about some different things that we could choke on. So we could choke on food. We could choke on money, if somebody puts money in their mouth. We could choke on Legos. We could choke on beads. That baby might break that strand of beads and then they'll all go in their mouth. All different kinds of toys, marbles, necklaces again, craft pieces, game pieces, there's all kinds. So we need to be careful so that we don't put the wrong thing in our mouth because we might choke because we don't always know what might happen next. And somebody might tell a really funny joke and then you're laughing and then you might choke on something that's in your mouth that isn't supposed to be in your mouth. So let's talk about a couple different things now. So let's talk about watch out words. You guys all know lots of words, but there's a few words that we all know that mean we need to be careful, right? Be careful. Those are words that mean to be careful. But what about this word? Danger. Danger means to be careful. What if we see this word poison? Poison means be careful too. What about biohazard? That's a big word, isn't it? But those are all watch out words that we see and we know, ooh, watch out, be careful. Now what about some pay attention pictures? Pictures that make you say, oh, I need to be careful. So pay attention pictures. These are all pay attention pictures because we see them and we automatically know, oh, we need to be careful. So when you see the skull and crossbones, what does that mean? Pay attention, right? What about when you see this sign or that picture? Be careful. Now, what about colors? There's 3 colors that we all know, and they're on our stoplights. Let's talk about each one of those colors. So, green usually means go, right? All good. That's safe. Green is a good color. Now what about yellow? When we see yellow on the stoplight, yellow's okay, but we need to be careful, slow down. Okay, so yellow is an okay, but we need to be really cautious kind of a color. And what about red? Red means stop, right? Stop. No way. Danger. Okay. So let's go back and look at our pay attention pictures. What colors are those pay attention pictures? This one has red. This one has red. This one has yellow. This one has kind of a yellow-orange color. So what if I can't read? Or what if somebody can't read those words? Do you think they can tell just by looking at these pictures and looking at what color they are, that they can tell what they're supposed to be getting out of that sign or that picture? Yeah, they can. Danger, it's red. And the red cautious color means stop. This one, it's red, stop. Yellow, what does yellow, our cautious color yellow mean? Slow down, be careful. And what if it's a orangey red, in between orange and red? That means you gotta be really careful. You gotta slow down, stop, be careful. Now, there's a couple other things that we need to talk about as far as choking. So, who knows what this sign means? It says 0 to 3, and it's got a big slash through it. Do you think that means that maybe people that are less than 3 years old can't play with these games? Yeah. And why might that be? Do you think it's because they're just not big enough? They're not big enough to play those games? Maybe. But it's also because there's small little pieces in those games and in those Legos that a 3-year-old might not know that they're not supposed to put in their mouth. And if they put it in their mouth, they might choke. Now I want everybody to be real gentle. I want you to take your hand and put it right here on your neck. Kind of feel, be real gentle, just feel right here. Does it feel kind of bumpy, like, yeah, kind of bumpy. Now that's your air pipe, or your trachea. And that's how we get oxygen to our body. Everybody take a big deep breath while you got your hand there. Can you feel the air going through there? Yeah. So, now what happens if we choke on something? If we choke on something, it gets stuck in our air pipe. And we can't get any oxygen because there's something inside that is keeping that oxygen from going in or out, right? So it's really important we protect our air pipe. So where's the safest place to eat food in your house? There's probably a lot of places that we eat food, but where's the safest? We should always be sitting at a table, or be at the table, And what should we be sitting in? A chair, right? Because if we're up walking around, we might choke. Or if we're sitting on the couch, we're not sitting up straight, and we might choke, right? And should we be taking big bites or little bites? Little bites. And should we chew our food fast or slowly? Slowly. Let's talk about bubble gum. Now, I know you guys can't have bubble gum at school, and there's probably a couple reasons for that, but let's talk about PE and recess specifically. Why do you think we can't have bubble gum there? What do you guys do when you're in PE? Do you guys run? Do you jump? Yeah, those are all things that you guys do at recess and in PE. And what might happen if you have bubble gum in and you're running really fast and you're breathing really hard because you're working really hard? Do you think you might choke on that gum? Yeah. Yeah. Now, who's ever been on a roller coaster? Raise your hand. Who's been on a roller coaster? Yeah, they're a lot of fun, right? But what do we do when we're on a roller coaster? Do we go upside down and all around and all over? Yeah. Lots of roller coasters do that. But are we scared on the roller coasters? Yeah, and when we're scared, we scream, right? So we scream really loud. And what if we have gum in our mouth? Do you think maybe we might accidentally choke on that gum? Yeah. So I want to tell you guys a story about a patient that I saw. Now, this patient's name was Annie, and she was about you guys' age. Annie got to go to McDonald's for lunch. And she was so excited because she was going to the McDonald's with the play place. You know which one I'm talking about, with the slide and the ball pit? Yeah, she was really excited. So Annie went to McDonald's with her family, and she got chicken nuggets. It's her favorite thing to get from McDonald's because she usually gets a toy. So she sat at the table in her chair and ate her chicken nuggets. And she ate all of them except one. Now she took her last chicken nugget, put it in her mouth, and she got up as soon as she put it in her mouth. And she went to the play place. And she still had that chicken nugget in her mouth, and she was chewing it. And she was chewing as she got into the ball pit. And what do you do in the ball pit? You jump. So Annie started to jump in the ball pit. And what do you think happened? She choked on her chicken nugget. Now, who do you think the people working at McDonald's called when she choked on her chicken nugget? They called the EMTs. And the EMTs came to McDonald's in their ambulance. And they drove really fast to get there because they wanted to help Annie. And they decided Annie needed to come to the hospital. She needed to come to the emergency department to see me. And so they did. They brought her, and they had their sirens on, and they said, wee, 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 all the way to the emergency room. Now, when she got there, she was okay. But we decided she needed to stay with us for a little while so that we could make sure that she was going to be okay. So while she was with us, we put a blood pressure cuff on this arm. We took some blood out of this arm, and then we put in a straw to give her some medicine. Like I said, she was okay. But what are a couple things that Annie could have done so that she didn't have to come to the emergency room, and she could have stayed and hung out at the ball pit and played on the place? So she could have sat at the table and ate all her food at the table before she got up. She could have taken smaller bites so that she could chew safely, right? So those are just a couple things that she could have done so that she could have enjoyed the rest of her afternoon and been safe. Now I want to talk about this. Who knows what this means? So this means that somebody's choking. Because what can't you do when you're choking if you don't have any air or oxygen? You can't talk. So we have to tell somebody that we're choking, but we can't talk. That's kind of hard, right? So this is the universal sign for choking, and I want to teach you guys how to do it. And I know it's kind of hard to do it when we're on a screen, but we're going to try it. So I want everybody to take their hands kind of like this and lock your thumbs together. Be real gentle and just put your hands right here. Okay, so this means that somebody's choking. So what are you going to do if you see somebody doing that? What are you going to do? You're going to go tell an adult so that they can get help, right? And what are you going to do if you're choking? You're going to do this, right? Like this so that they know that you're choking. Because what can't you do when you're choking? You can't talk, right? Now this is only for emergencies. This is not for play. This is not for pretend. It's only for emergencies. So just put that in your brain. Store it away in your brain so that if there is an emergency, you know what to do. So if you're not going to eat it and you're not going to drink it, should we put it in our mouth? No, right? No, because we might choke. Now I've got some questions, okay? We talked about most of these things already, but let's go over them. We're never ever going to put anything plastic over our head. And if you can't climb out of it, don't climb in. We're never ever going to wrap anything around our neck. And we talked about some watch out words. Remember poison, danger, caution, and our pay attention pictures. And then there was 3 of these that we talked about. Red, yellow, green. Those were our cautious colors. And where's the best place to eat food? At a table, sitting in a chair. And if you're not going to eat it and you're not going to drink it, don't put it in your mouth. Thank you guys so much for letting me come into your classroom today. I can't wait for when we get to see each other in person. I want you to stay safe out there and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.